Okay, here's a video to show a repair of a shutoff valve. It's under the sink in the kitchen, and what happened was it was leaking at the stem. So I went to get some new packing, stem packing. I bought this graphite packing at the hardware store, and I put 2 turns of it under the bonnet. I went to tighten it. It was still leaking. And then what happened is, as I was tightening it, I actually broke off the threaded section of the body of the valve. So it probably was cracked already, I suppose, because if that is cracked a little bit, but you can still get pressure on the packing, then you still might not have a leak. Okay, but in this case, as I was tightening it, I heard some really terrible noises there, and then I realized that yes, it was coming free completely. So anyway, I don't think there's really corrosion. I think probably in a previous repair, when I had added some more packing, not new packing, but some old packing I had, I might have over tightened it and then basically somehow put a crack in it. I don't know. So now I'm going to have to replace the whole valve. So first I have to get that valve out. Now, first thing that I want to do is shut off the water, because to take this out, the water supply is going to be open to that spot, because I have to unsolder that, and I don't have a shut-off valve below that. I look down in the basement. So I shut off the water to the house, and then what I did was I opened the faucets below this. This is the first floor, so I opened the faucets of a tub I had in the basement. The idea is to try to drain all of the hot water and the hot water line all the way from the second floor all the way down. I want to drain the system down, and what I had in the basement was a tub, a wash tub. That was a spot where I could open the system and let the water down. So this should be drained down right now. So I should be able to take out that stem, and there shouldn't be any water behind it at this point, because it all should have been drained down, and that would put me in position to desolder. And if there's no water behind it, so I'm going to hit pause and take that stem out. Okay, I removed the valve stem. I have it right here. And first time I did it, the water did start coming out because I hadn't drained all the water by opening up the valve in the basement. I shut off the water, but all the hot water in the hot water line that was above this point, like the second floor of the house, started spraying out. So anyway, I cleaned it up and then figured out I needed to open the valve. The basement, drain the system down first. Now I've got this down, okay. Now I'm ready for the next step. I'm going to disconnect the sink there, above, that 3/8 inch compression line. Then I'll be ready to desolder. Okay, I disconnected that line and I just pushed it away behind. I think I'd be able to not have to remove that hard copper line. It is kind of compression fitting on the other side. I could remove it if I needed to, but I think it's out of the way because it's not really touching, or just barely touching behind it, and I think I'll be able to heat this up and remove that valve. Okay, you still water in it, so some of that water is going to boil off, but I think I should be able to do it because it's open, and that water can boil off, and then when it's hot enough, I can pop it off. Okay, I got that valve off. I used my propane torch, and I could see when the solder was starting to drip down. And I just turned the torch off. Used a pair of pliers and I could see that I could rotate it, and then I just pulled up on it, and off it came. So you can see that where the part broke off. Okay, so anyway, that's step one now. Step two is to put in this replacement. Multi-turn straight valve. Fortunately, I was able to find something which looks like an exact replacement, although it's much newer, so I'm sure the internals are different. It's 1/2 inch sweat inlet, 3/8 inch compression outlet. I don't have to use the fittings on the outlet because I already have them on the copper pipe. And it says here, please visit BrassCraft.com for full installation instructions. Okay, so I'm just going to check that. Installation instructions. Here's what I found on their website. BrassCraft, it's under water supply stops installation instructions. Now, this is a multi-purpose instruction sheet, and it has a section on sweat inlet. And here's the important thing. Of course, be sure to shut off water before starting. I've already done that. Multi-turn, remove complete stem assembly by loosening bonnet nut and unthreading stem to prevent heat damage to the washer, and then reassemble. Okay, so that's the first thing I'm going to do, but let's just review the rest of it. This is standard soldering stuff. Clean the outside of the copper stub and the inside of the fitting with the emery. Coat flux on both of those. Apply heat to all sides. Checking the temperature occasionally by touching the solder to the surface to see if it will liquefy. And when it is liquefying, you feed the solder in, then you wipe the stub while it's still hot. That leaves an attractive chrome-like finish. I guess if you don't care about the attractive chrome-like finish, you're going to be okay. And I believe that that is yes, that picture more or less is not for the straight through. That's for a 90-degree, but that's basically it. And that is basically it for the instructions. Okay, so we got that. Okay, I didn't have any trouble getting the stem out. And you can see, yes, there's a rubber washer there and the packing. I don't want those to get hot when it's soldering. Now I will get some emery and do my polishing on the inside of this and the outside of the pipe. Okay, I had a roll of this emery, which I think was designed specifically for plumbing, and it was in my inherited plumbing kit from my father-in-law. So I cut off a piece, and then I just rolled it up, put it in there, and just worked it around on the edges. Okay, now it looks pretty good. I could do a little bit more, but this is brand new, so I was kind of wondering if you really need to do this on a brand new one, but there's no harm. There might be some sort of a oily finish or who knows what, but it's perfectly smooth. Now on the pipe itself, that still has solder on it, so there might be no point in using emery on that, because I'd guess emery all the way down to the copper, and what's the point of that, because it's already been tinned. So my thought is on that, I probably won't put the emery on that. Okay, as long as I can slide this on, I probably won't. Okay, I did have to use the emery on the pipe because there was enough solder buildup that I could not dry fit these components. So after doing that, I got my flux out. I fluxed the inside of this fitting. I also found my kit for cleaning the outside and the inside of the 1/2-inch pipe with a wire brush, not with the emery, but that's fine. I did that too. Now I'm going to put the flux onto the pipe, and then I will do the dry fit before applying the heat.
Okay, I put the flux on the pipe, and I got the 2 components fully seated. Now we'll apply the heat and dab in the solder. Okay, I heated it up about a minute or so. I tested it at 30 seconds, and then at a minute the solder was melting. So I worked it all the way around. Then I took this old glove and I tried wiping it, and it did not come out looking neat, but I don't really care if it looks neat. I'm just going to test it and see whether or not whether it holds the water. That's all. Okay, I reattached the compression fitting. I used my Teflon tape. I wrapped it around in the direction so that when I tighten the nut, it doesn't undo the Teflon, so the Teflon wraps around this way, same direction that the nut goes on. Now I'm going to put on the bonnet, the packing nut. It comes with a washer. Now what happened is, in doing this, the washer has fallen out, and this dished washer has fallen out. The washer looks identical on both sides, so I don't think it'll matter which way I put it in, but the dished washer looks like it might go in one way or it might go in the other way now. I'm going to put it in this way with the dish. It looks like it fits a little bit better that way, but honestly, I'm going to have to double check this afterwards. It might not matter. If it doesn't leak, it won't matter if it works, okay? But afterwards, I'll check the video. I might be able to see which direction it was initially. Okay, but I'm just going to try it this way and see what happens. I'll tighten it up. Okay, I've got all the water turned back on, and there's no water dripping from the anywhere from the solder joint or from the packing nut. So it looks like it's okay. Okay, that's all.